Hello again, everybody. That was a great panel. Before we get to this next panel that Stephanie will also be moderating, I have a few exciting announcements to share. First, we launched our 4 new challenges on February 28th. I encourage each and every one of you to apply before July 1st if you have a solution. Our first challenge is circular economy. Yep. Every year, the world creates more than 2 billion tons of solid waste, about 5 times the total weight of all people on the planet. That's why we're asking, how can people create and consume goods that are renewable, repairable, reusable, and recyclable? Our second challenge is community-driven innovation. Prosperous, inclusive communities are built upon engaged and connected citizens who actively shape their future. Yet lack of connectivity further excludes the most marginalized. We are asking innovators to submit their solutions to how can citizens and communities create and improve social inclusion and shared prosperity. 3, early childhood development. Millions of children under 5 are at risk of falling behind in their developmental growth due to extreme poverty, violence, and neglect. However, all of society benefits from investments in early childhood development. Thus, we are asking, how can all children under 5 develop the critical learning and cognitive skills they need to reach their full potential? And finally, our 4th challenge, healthy cities. By 2050, 2/3 of the world's population will live in cities. From sanitation systems to green space, the way cities are built majorly impacts people's health. We seek solutions that answer how can urban residents design and live in environments that promote physical and mental health. I'm also happy to announce that as of today, we have over $1.5 million of prize funded already committed for the new challenges, in addition to mentorship and in-kind opportunities. Our 2019 sponsors include General Motors, the McGovern Foundation, and Vodafone Americas Foundation. You will hear from them directly about their amazing prizes, but I'd also like to thank Schmidt Futures, Everytown for Gun Safety Support Fund, InnoSpark Ventures, the Abu Dhabi Crown Prince Corps, and the Andan Foundation, who also contributed prize for future solver teams. Please give them a round of applause. Each solver will also receive a $10,000 grant from Solve. And being a solver is about much more than prize money. It's about connecting with other solver teams, with Solve members and partners, and the MIT community to find the resources, including mentorship, technology, media promotion, and perhaps additional funding to accelerate solutions that work. At Solve, we search for the solutions that break down economic, cultural, and social barriers to create opportunities for all. The solver teams we select use technology to put ingenuity and creativity at the service of social impact. Like Maritime Blockchain Labs, which uses blockchain technology to curb carbon emissions and protect coastal communities. Or like Morada Robotics, which built an underwater robot to automate urchin management, helping restore more than 3.3 million acres of kelp forest. You'll hear from Fola very soon about that. Or Ada Health, whose AI-driven platform provides personalized health symptom assessments in real time. We help our solver teams access the financial and non-financial resources they need to accelerate their progress and their impact. I'm happy to say that in the last 2 years, thanks to our partners, Solve have brokered commitments of over $12 million in funding to solver teams and entrepreneurs. $12 million, that's a big deal for us. So please get involved. If you have a solution, apply before July 1st. And also spread the word far and wide and support applicants. You can mentor, you can comment and vote on applications, you can host a solvathon in your city. So do get in touch with my team to be part of this movement. Because this is what Solve is all about. Solve is not about MIT working alone to support our solver teams. It's an opportunity to roll your sleeves and participate in collective problem solving at a global scale. It's about creating cross-sector partnerships to accelerate great innovative solutions. And we can only do that when we work all together. And now, some more news. There is a real pioneer gap at the early stages for social entrepreneurs, and our solver teams are no different. They tell us that capital is our #1 need. As I mentioned, in the last 2 years, we've brokered over $12 million of commitment funding to tech entrepreneurs. And that's been mostly in the form of grant funding. We have been wanting to do more, especially as over 50% of our Solver teams are for-profits. So today, I'm delighted to launch and announce the Solve Innovation Fund, a first-in-kind philanthropic venture fund that will be run by our fund principal, Casey Vanderstricht. The Solve Innovation Fund will provide catalytic capital to scale early-stage impact solutions around the world through debt and equity investments. This will allow us to continue to support the incredible innovators that we select every year, and also to demonstrate our belief in you, our Solver teams, by directly investing in your success. The fund aims to raise over $30 million in philanthropic gifts from donors. And this is how it will work. Cue diagram. Any returns on investments will be reinvested into the next classes of Solver teams. This means donor money is multiplied in its impact, and Solver team success helps fund future Solver teams, creating a pay-it-forward model. We expect to start the investment process in Q4 2019. I'm happy to say that all current and past for-profit Solver teams will be eligible. To tell you more, I'm delighted to welcome to the stage Noubar Afeyan, founder and CEO of Flagship Pioneering. Noubar is our longtime Solve advisor, an MIT Corporation member, and now our first founding anchor donor for the Solve Innovation Fund. Please welcome Noubar.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Alex. As founder and CEO of Flagship Pioneering and a longtime Solve advisor, sounds strange to say long time, it's been around for 3 years, but nevertheless, being involved from the beginning, I'm delighted to be here to support Solve and MIT with the launch of the Solve Innovation Fund. I've devoted much of my career to uncovering new ways to improve the human condition. Flagship is the culmination of that pursuit, an experiment in institutional innovation and professional company creation built by science entrepreneurs who, like many people in the room today, live to explore the unprecedented. That's what we mean by pioneering. Over my 32-year-long entrepreneurial journey, I never strayed far from my roots at MIT. I completed my doctoral work at MIT in biochemical engineering at a time when the biotechnology field was still in its infancy. I've stayed engaged in MIT since for 16 years as a senior lecturer in entrepreneurship and innovation at MIT Sloan School, and since 2016 as a member of the corporation. When Raphael decided to start Solve, he kindly asked me to join as an advisor. I've since seen Solve grow and develop under Alex and her team's leadership, and have come to view this venue as an open and intense innovation marketplace where solutions are shared, seeds are sown that could scale to solve some of the world's biggest challenges. But these seeds, absent a fertile environment and the required capital, will never germinate and grow, which is why the Solve Innovation Fund is such a timely and needed idea. The fund is an innovative financing mechanism, a first-in-kind philanthropic venture fund that I hope will be adopted elsewhere, thereby unlocking the potential of unconventional ideas by applying needed seed capital to early-stage social entrepreneurs everywhere. This is why I'm pleased to announce that I have agreed to be the founding and anchor supporter to the Solve Innovation Fund, with a commitment for 10% of a targeted $30 million pool. My hope is that this commitment unlocks many other commitments from donors towards the Solve Innovation Fund and to Solver teams. To the Solver teams here today, congratulations on being selected, and I look forward to meeting as many of you as I can over the next couple of days. Your solutions to some of the world's most urgent problems are inspiring. But remember, there's nothing easy about what you're going to do. If it isn't hard, if you don't feel the need to adapt, to persevere, to overcome, to survive, then you're likely not working on the most pressing challenges facing us. And if you are, then know that your highest reward will be through those you impact. As I mentioned, I've been on the MIT ship for now 36 years. I sat in this auditorium in 1983 for the first time as a graduate student. And during those 36 years, I've learned a couple of things that I wanted to pass on to those of you today. One was that I came to this country as an immigrant. And in 1983, as an immigrant sitting here, I wondered how I could actually compete with people who were native and who had such a big advantage. And many of you in this room from all over the world face that same challenge. There's a huge refugee crisis. And we think of immigration as a big disadvantage. But I want to tell you 36 years later that actually in the field of innovation, immigration is a huge unparalleled advantage. Because all innovation is intellectual immigration. And those of you in the room who have immigrated know what it's like not to take anything for granted, know what it's like to realize that if you make it, that is what it becomes to be native, is to actually succeed and be able to create value. And you have a huge advantage. Don't let anybody cause you to think that you have a disadvantage by being an immigrant. It's a huge advantage. Just keep it with you. If you succeed, don't stop being an immigrant. And the second thing I'll tell you, trust me, 36 years later, I could fake my old accent. I'm an immigrant. And then the second thing I want to tell you is the other thing, which is that as you go out to try to sell your ideas and convince people to join you and give you capital, etc., you will be tempted to come up with a version of your breakthrough idea that sounds reasonable to people because you want to convince them to back you. Well, if we expect extraordinary results, which is what the UN Sustainable Development Goals demonstrably are, that is major, major disruptions, climate change, water, poverty, these are extraordinary expectations. And why is it that we expect ordinary people, reasonable people, more importantly, doing reasonable things to create these extraordinary results? So when you think what you're working on is unreasonable, when you think that what you're proposing is totally unreasonable, don't make it seem reasonable because it's highly unlikely that a reasonable idea is going to change the world. And so you have to find a way to persist until the world considers it reasonable. So those are the two things that I wanted to share with you. I want to tell you how excited I am to continue my collaboration with Solve and MIT and look forward to seeing a lot of impact coming out of it. Thank you very much.